Okay, so after Iltutmish, the one who took the throne was Ruknuddin Feroz, his son. After that, it was Razia. We do not have to learn all this. They will not ask you these questions. But what they ask you are three important facts that we will have to decipher. When Razia took the throne, not everybody was happy. Razia needed a protective shield for herself. So she introduced slaves from Africa. These slaves came from a place called Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, they came from a Ethiopia is actually known by a different name in those days. It was called Abyssinia. From Abyssinia, they came from a small town called Habash. Therefore, they came to be known as Habshis. People from Habash are called Habshis, the Abyssinian slaves. Now look at the importance of this fact. When Habshis came at the time of Razia, they settled in India. When they settled in India, they continue to live in India, and today they are Indian citizens. Today we call them Siddhis. They are found at three places: Gujarat, Karnataka, and Bengal. In Gujarat, they remained Muslims. In Karnataka, they accepted Christianity. And in Bengal, they remained Muslims. They are very much Indian citizens now. After Iltutmish, what is written? Ruknuddin Feroz. So Razia introduced Habshis in India. After Razia comes Bahram Shah. Bahram Shah is known to have introduced a post of Naib, N-A-I-B, Naib. Abyssinia was caliphate? No. Abyssinia is a place. No, it's an Abyssinian empire. Ethiopia. Yeah, she introduced slaves from Africa, no? Ethiopia. Bahram Shah. After Bahram Shah comes Masood. बताता हूं पहले आप लिखो तो सही. After Masood comes Nasiruddin Mahmud, the grandson of Iltutmish, the last from the family of Iltutmish to ever hold the throne. 1246 to 66. Nasiruddin Mahmud. Do you remember I told you Iltutmish had 40 slaves? Turkan-e-Chehelgan. Out of those 40 slaves, the last slave of his was a 7-year-old boy. 7 साल के बच्चे को वो slave बनाता है. That boy is 7 years old, so he is trained by the prince and the grandsons of Iltutmish at Haram. So he is trained with the sons of Iltutmish and the grandsons of Iltutmish. He becomes very ferocious after a time, and he is a great friend of Nasiruddin Mahmud. So Nasiruddin Mahmud makes that slave his naib, whose name was Ulugh Khan. Ulugh Khan was a ferocious Turkane-Chehalgan, the slave of Iltutmish. Nasiruddin Mahmud is the grandson of Iltutmish beta. Ulugh Khan. During the time of Nasiruddin, the most important problem was of the Mongol invasion. Just like Navratri comes every year, Mongols will come every year. They will come, they will loot, they will go. Mongol invasion was a great problem. And it was Ulugh Khan, the military commander, the Naib, who could control this. He was a great man when it comes to military acumenship. Nasiruddin in 66 dies. And so ends the line of the Iltutmish's family. The line is over. The next Sultan is Ulugh Khan. Ulugh Khan himself becomes the Sultan. 1266 to 87. Ulugh Khan was a slave, so the slave dynasty continues. It is not over. Ulugh Khan had two sons, Muhammad and Bughra Khan. Muhammad and Bughra Khan, two sons. As I said, Mongol invasion was a problem. Muhammad, his eldest son, died fighting the Mongols. He died fighting the Mongols. Now the question is, who will take the throne after Ulugh Khan? Because Bughra was a coward. He ran to Bengal and he stayed at Bengal. He did not come to Delhi. He said, I do not want to come. Mongols is a great problem. I cannot bear the brunt of it. Now Ulugh Khan is about to die in depression. Muhammad is dead. Bughra had a son. So the grandson of Ulugh Khan, Kaikubad. If you read the NCERT, Kaikubad is the last slave dynasty ruler. Kaikubad took the throne when he was 17 years old. 17 saal ka bachcha tha ye. And he had a habit. The first thing that he learned after becoming the Sultan was drinking. He drank regularly for 4 years until he died. At the age of 21, he got completely paralyzed and he died of drinking. So who will replace him? So according to NCERT, Kaikubad is the last ruler, but that is factually incorrect. तो आप क्या करेंगे? Exam में या तो वो Kaikubad देंगे, so you will go with Kaikubad. If they give you that name which I am going to tell you, you will mark that. Kaikubad was replaced by his son Kaikush, also called Kayumar, two names. When he took the throne, he was 6 years old. 6 साल का बच्चा. That is why NCERT does not mention his name. 6 years old. Now, how could a 6-year-old child could weed away the problem of Mongols? That was a question among the politicians, the bureaucrats, the nobles in his time. So Kaikhush, in his time period, there was a military commander. He was a very popular military commander because he was the only one ever to defeat Mongols till this time. So he was a hero. His name was Jalaluddin Khilji. So one fine day, Jalaluddin Khilji went into the bedroom, took Kaikhush's head, threw it in Yamuna, and took the throne. So begins the Khilji dynasty. Hunky-dory system. Everybody is happy. The slave dynasty is over. So we have to remember 3 facts. Number 1, Razia gave you slaves from Africa. Number 2, Bahram Shah gave you Naib as a post. And number 3, the last ruler of Delhi Sultanate, Kayumar. ठीक है? Only these 3 facts are important here. जी? रजिया कौन थी? इल्तुतमिश की बेटी थी. Wazir versus Naib. What is this Naib? What is the importance of a Naib? Wazir, if you remember, I told you, he is the prime minister. Correct? Naib is the deputy sultan. In other words, he is almost like a de facto sultan to take any decision. Naib is a more important post than Wazir. ठीक है? Prime Minister is like a personal secretary to the Sultan. But a Naib can take a decision if he thinks the Sultan is not taking the right one. Naib was a very important post. Clear hai? Ulugh Khan. (1266 to 87). Let us understand Ulugh Khan now. Let us do a character sketch of this man. Ulugh Khan is a man who loves to maintain his identity as if he is royalty. He hates being called a slave. All right. He hates being controlled by anybody. And he hates this idea that anybody can come and take his throne from him. He has worked a lot to get what is his. Baat samajh aayi? That is his character. So the first thing that he does after becoming the Sultan is he abolished the post of Naib. No more Naib now, because he does not want anybody to have equal power like him. He's a man, he's finicky about certain things. He does not trust anybody. He has trust issues. He does not even trust his wife. He does not trust anybody. So what he does, first of all, he has to change his identity. So he takes a new name. He calls himself Ghiyasuddin Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban. Now his policies. His policy is just the reflection of his character, exact reflection. So his policies are exactly the same. Since he does not trust anybody, he starts killing every potential person who can take the throne. So he starts killing the other Turkane Chehelgan, because they are as strong as him. So he starts killing the Turkane Chehelgan and anybody who he thinks can take the throne. The policy of blood. The policy of blood. Policy number 2. Mongol was a problem, correct? Now look at this man. He thinks that if he starts expanding Delhi Sultanate, he will create new enemies. So if he expands, there would be new enemies. How would he battle at 2 fronts or 3 fronts? So he decides he will not add a new riyasat in his kingdom. So he starts the policy of consolidation. Matlab, whatever kingdom was given to him by Nasiruddin Mahmud, he will continue with that. Consolidation. Whatever he has, he will consolidate. The policy of iron. Blood and iron. The policy of blood and iron belongs to Ghiyasuddin Balban. ठीक है? Now he's going to make changes. Building of a character and sultanate. You must have heard that joke, no? That one person lied on his CV saying that he has been to IIT. So the interviewer asked, when did you go to IIT? He said, I went to drop my cousin. Balban is like that. Balban says, I am the great grandson of Afrasiab, a mythical Iranian hero. He does not exist. A mythical Iranian hero. In order to substantiate his claim, he started, or you can write introduced, Nowruz festival. Nowruz. It's an Iranian New Year festival. Zoroastrians, even followed by Shias. होता है ना, you have gone to IIT, you will wear a t-shirt. He started or introduced the Nowruz festival, Iranian New Year. Take, see what he has done. He has done a very simple thing. Chair दिख रहा तुम लोगों? What he has done is, until now, the throne of the Sultan was important. The throne of the Sultan was important. By claiming that he is the great grandson of Afrasiab, he is saying that the true blood of an administrator or a leader flows in his veins only. In other words, he becomes the first ruler to give you a theory of kingship, law of succession. So from now, the throne is not important. The person sitting over it becomes important. That is Balban. Number 2, if the blood flows in his veins, the same blood will flow in his sons and his grandsons' blood, as like veins. Therefore, law of succession is established for the first time. Theory of kingship, law of succession. Have you understood? So by doing this, for the first time, he gives you the theory of kingship and succession laws. Now the question is, you need a person to legitimize all this. You need a person. There has to be a person who would write this for him, because he is a military commander after all. He would not write, he fights. So the person who will help him do that, write all these things, his name is Zia al-Din Barni. Zia al-Din Barni writes a book, Fatwa-e-Jahandari. In this book, he gives you the divine theory of kingship. He writes another book, Tarikh-e-Feroz Shahi. Look at the name of the second book very closely. Tarikh, history of Feroz Shah, Feroz Shahi. Who is Feroz Shah? Feroz Shah Tughlaq. Whom we are talking about? Balban. What does that mean? That Zia al-Din Barni served 7 rulers. He is the longest serving scholar of Delhi Sultanate. He died at an age of 72 years and served 7 kings. So he becomes a very important scholar for all of you. Clear hai? And then, when he is giving the divine theory of kingship, Zia al-Din Barni gives a title to Balban. He calls him Zilullah, the shadow of God on earth. Balban has been made divine. The process of legitimation is over. Now imagine a person is calling himself Zilullah, the shadow of God on earth. How would anybody meet him? People cannot just enter and give a high five. There has to be something which needs to change. Balban, therefore, introduces court etiquettes. For the first time, the character of how to hold a court becomes important. He introduces 2 things. A, paibos, kissing the feet. And B, sajda, prostration. You must have seen people praying, namaz padhte samay jhukte hain, prostration, sajda, sar lagate hain. So imagine that Balban is sitting in the court, somebody will enter on all his 4 scroll, will go to Balban, take his feet, kiss, say Zilullah. Court etiquettes. He has introduced court etiquettes and given a proper shape to what we refer to as Delhi Sultanate. Clear hai? अब आप इंतहा देखिए लेजिटिमेशन के. अब आप इंतहा देखिए लेजिटिमेशन के. Look at the people around. When you have such a ferocious ruler, everybody is in the line. Let me give you an example. The example comes from 1276 AD. There was a merchant, a Hindu merchant, whose name was Thakur उद्धाधर ठाकुर उद्धाधर. You must have heard about क्या बोलते हैं, क्या था मैं, हाँ, corporate social responsibility. Even in those days there was something called corporate social responsibility. This merchant went on to commission, matlab he commissions a bauli, a well at Palam. So it is called Palam Bauli. He gets a well constructed at Palam, Delhi, Palam Bauli. After the construction of the well, he calls his friend, a Pandit, Pandit Yogeshwar. A Pandit ji is called, who knows Sanskrit, and he is told to put an inscription in front of the well. So the inscription that he is going to write is called Palam Bauli inscription. In this inscription, he gives a very candid detail. He says, Balban is the 11th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. इंतहा देखिए आप. Do not understand Palam Bauli. Nothing to understand. There was a man who once fought with a crocodile when he was a child. Legitimation. There was a man. आगे बढ़ो. सल्तनत. Every system has pillars. If somebody asks you what are the pillars of democracy, you always say legislative, executive, judiciary, and media. So what are the pillars of Sultanate? Sultan. Sultan comes from the word sult, which means the wielder of sword. इसका मतलब सीधी भाषा में कहूं तो जिसकी लाठी उसकी भैंस. It was only Balban who gives you a law succession, है ना, law of succession. Otherwise, it is open to anybody. If you are powerful, you can become one. Number 2, ulema. Ulema is a plural word. The singular word is alim. Ulema is a plural word. The singular word is alim, which comes from the word ilm. Ilm का मतलब होता है knowledge. The question is knowledge of what? Sharia. So in other words, ulema is the Qazi Sahab, Maulana Sahab of Sultanate period, intellectual class, scholars. Number 3, Umara comes from the word Amir, which simply means a noble or a bureaucrat. So that will constitute the bureaucracy. Number 4, local chiefs. If you remember, we have done this in lecture number 1. We call them Samant. Yaad hai? And they took the titles like Raja, Rana, exactly, very nice, Rawat, Ranuka, Rana. इतने सारे नाम, it is difficult to remember. So they were given one single term. They were called khut. They were given a term khut. So जमींदार को अरबी में खुत बुलाते हैं. अब प्रॉब्लम समझिए. सुल्तान, उलेमा, उमरा, खुत does not sound great. You have to have a great name. इनका भी अच्छा नाम होना चाहिए. So there was a man by the name Amir Khushro. Amir Khushro gave them a new term. Zameen Dar. Khut were called Zamindar by Amir Khushro. That is a term introduced, coined by Amir Khushro. Where do we have the evidence? You need to have an evidence. So for the first time, this word was mentioned by Amir Khushro in two books. Number one, Ejaz-e-Khushravi. That is a book. And number two, B, Deval Rani Khizr Khan. This book was in short called Ashika, the true original romantic story of Delhi Sultanate period. Ashika, Deval Rani Khizr Khan. In these two books, for the first time, you have the mention of the term Zamindar. So you have understood the pillars of Sultanate. Now comes the second question. Who are these people? कौन है ये लोग? कहां से आते हैं? Who are these people? Ashika was love story. हाँ बेटा. Deval Rani in love with Khizr Khan. Sultanate, ethnic composition. You should mark this sheet as the most important sheet. Actually, every sheet is important. But let me tell you, the sheet that we are going to do has already given you 8 UPSC questions, art. So the trick is, those terms that I will write in capital letters are not been asked yet. Okay. So the ruling class first. Turks and Abyssinians. You know where they come from? Remember? They were slaves. Slaves. Number 3 are the Tajiks, the people who come from Tajikistan area. Tajiks. Number 4, you call them Turani. Turani is Iraq region. Turani. Number 5, Afghans. अब ध्यान से देखो, तुरानी, ताजिक्स. ताजिक्स के आगे लिखो खिलजी. तुरानी, तुगलक. अफगान्स, लोदीज. नाम सुना है इन लोगों का? All these 3 are free men. They are nobody's slave. That is why we say that slave dynasty ended with Kaikhush. After that, nobody is a slave. Number 6, Neo-Muslims. Mongols are called neo-Muslims. Mongols. Number 7. Sheikh Zadas. Those Indians who will become Muslims, Indian Muslims, and will rise to elite culture, Indian Muslims. They are the most romanticized class in the history of India. ओ मेरे सपनों के सौदागर, तुझे ऐसी जगह ले जाऊं, शहजादा. Shahzadas of India. Shahzada Hatim, Shahzada Salim, Indian Muslims. अरे ताजिक बता बेटा, ताजिकिस्तान से पढ़ा है नाम यार इनका, है ना, ताजिक्स नहीं. अब आए कॉमन मैन who later rose to power, मतलब they became nobles. Number 1, Kallals. Our side we kept full even though. आए क्या अंग्रेजी है इनकी? Kallals. They were Muslim brewers. They made wine. Muslim brewers. ठीक? It means they had money. They rose to the position of nobles at the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Number 2, Kambo or Kambos. They were Hindus who got converted to Islam by Suhrawardi Sufi saints, and they became what? They rose to become ulema. They rose to become ulema. Again, at the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Number 3, Khatri. They were in overland trade. They are overland traders. Overland traders. Since they are trading on the overland route, land route, they will use caravan. So they were called caravaneers or caravaneers. Caravan. We Indians used a different term for them. We called them Banjaras. UPSC 2014. Banjaras. Number 4, Multani. They were also in overland trade, but they had a specialty. They traded only in horses. They were horse traders. They rose to power at the time of Alauddin Khilji. They rose to power at the time of Alauddin Khilji. Number 5, Jain merchants. Marwadi. They were into textile trade. Marwadis. And in the same category of Jain merchants, you had money lenders. Nikshep Hundika. Nikshep Hundika. They invented, listen to the word very carefully, a bill of exchange. Hundis. UPSC 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. All 4 years. If you think UPSC does not repeat questions, then there is a problem. But hundis पूछने के बाद भी मैंने कैपिटल लेटर में क्यों लिखा? Because they have not asked you one thing. That is, if you happen to go to a bank today and ask for a hundi, what will you ask? It's an economics question. I have no role here. I can leave you here with this question. You can find out. But me being me, I will tell you. Because zakat dena hota hai. Loan. Checkbook. Anybody who works in a bank. DD. FD. कैसे करेंगे बताओ? कैसे करेंगे ये? Do you know what is the basic difference between a FD and a promissory note? FD is India only. Hundi can be liquefied in Antarctica also. हवाला है भैया ये. For instance, imagine you have come all the way from Tajikistan to trade. You have sold your horses, you are going back with the money. Somebody will loot you. Khatam. Khallas. So what will you do? After selling the product, whatever you have come up with, you will go to a merchant and he will give you a chit with a secret code, which only you know. You keep the chit, you go to Tajikistan. In Tajikistan, that merchant has an agent there. You give him that slip, you tell the code, he will give you the money. Hundi. Have you understood? Nikshep Hundika. ठीक है? So इस शीट को याद रखिएगा, भूलिएगा नहीं, काम आएगा. सल्तनत. On the top is the Sultan, correct? Introduced the time of Islam. सौरभ, हुंडी हमारे पास शुरू से था, इंडिया का है. ठीक? So we have to imagine that we are talking from the very beginning. ठीक? Iltutmish, Sultan, he is dead. Now comes Bahram Shah. He's a weak ruler. He introduces a position of Nayab. So in the bracket, you can write Bahram Shah. If you want, you can also write abolished by Balban. Your wish. If you have space, you can write that abolished by Balban. ठीक? Evidence of Hundi. Nirav Modi. It works. Then I told you that Balban will come and abolish it, so it abolished it, and then he will consolidate. So what do I mean when I say consolidate? He will create departments. Diwan A Wizarat, the office of the Wazir, the Prime Minister. Diwan A Wizarat. He is creating a consolidating approach. Diwan A Insha. Insha का मतलब letters, the department of correspondence. इसीलिए जब आप बोलते हो इंशाअल्लाह, इसका मतलब क्या होता है? The words, the true letter of Allah, इंशाअल्लाह. That's the meaning of it. ये आपके इंफॉर्मेशन में इसलिए देता हूं ताकि आप याद करने में आसानी. Correspondence. दीवान ए अरीज, the defense minister. Who is creating this department? Balban. Balban. Diwan e Rizalat. That is the external affairs plus religion. External affairs plus religion. Rizalat. Then comes Sadr. Sadr us Sudur. He takes care of education plus internal religious affairs. Sadr us Sudur. And finally, 4-5 और ये 6. Qazi ul Quzat, the Chief Justice. Balban consolidates. पढ़ तो रहे हो, याद कैसे करोगे? कर लोगे ना? अब थोड़ा बुद्धि लगाओ, मुझे ये बताओ, which post should go to ulema and which post should go to umara? थोड़ी बुद्धि लगाओ. छोड़ दो. छोड़ दो. ठीक गलत तो नहीं कह रहा, सही है ना लॉजिकली? The story does not end here. After Balban, the next ruler who added departments was Alauddin Khilji. He added Diwan e Riyasat, the Department of Commerce, and Diwan e Mustakharaj, Department of Arrears. You can simply call Income Tax Department, Department of Arrears, Income Tax Department. अलाउद्दीन के बाद आएंगे मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक. Muhammad bin Tughlaq gives you only one department. Diwan e Kohi. Diwan e Kohi. That is the loan department, agricultural department that gives loans. This department is the agricultural department that gives pre-harvest loans. The pre-harvest loans are called takkavi. Arrears work. Chetan, income tax, IRS officer. Okay. Then comes Feroz Shah Tughlaq. Number one, Diwan-e-Khairat, department for charity. Diwan-e-Bandagan, department for slaves. And number three, Diwan-e-Ishtaq, department for pensions. That is all. शाबाश, चाय पी सकता हूँ थोड़ा देर, आधा घंटा. I have these to be learned. No, Ivanka, what you can do is you can take the notes in the examination hall and you can tell the invigilator, I don't know what you will tell the invigilator. आगे बढ़े. दीवाने बंदगान, slaves. फिर से शुरू. अच्छा लिखना है, लिखिए लिखिए. जी, ट्रांसपोर्टिंग. I never said horse was used. उन्हें क्या मतलब समझा नहीं. कारवां. You know what is a कारवां? पालकी में होके सवार चली रहे. मैं तो अपने साजन के द्वार चली रहे. पालकी. Have you heard that song? वो अरे, have you seen the picturization of that song? You should. You will see banjaras on a cart. बुल्लॉक काट होता है, पीछे बैठे होते हैं वो. आगे बढ़ूं या छोड़ दूं यहीं पर? Sir, are Khatris Muslims or Kshatriyas? Khatris are Khatris. Nanak was a Khatri. So was Guru Gobind. So was every other Guru of Sikhs. Are they Kshatriyas? Was not there such consolidation before Sultan rule in India? पढ़ाया तो था संगीता, याद है? भूमि का, है ना? भुक्ति, उपारिका कराया था गुप्ता में. भूल गए सब? नीर छिरे के तू हंस हंस बको बका. Is Balban the reason for hereditary throne for kings? Only his time period. Imagine that Iltutmish has come. Iltutmish has come and he has established the Sultanate. Things continue till Balban's time period because I have just told you Balban did not expand. He consolidated. So this circle remains the same. So the Sultanate had three different kinds of property. 1, 2, 3. The first property, K. K is Khalsa. खालसा. अब आप लोगों को अरबी फारसी तो आती नहीं है. खालसा comes from the word khalis, which means pure. वहीं से नाम पड़ेगा बाद में वो खलीसा. Anyway, खालसा. Anyway, खालसा property was the crown land, the land that belongs to the Sultan. Khalis, the pure land. That is the riyasat, the personal property of the Sultan. Sultan controls it. Theek? In this area comes the Doab region, the most fertile land. That is Ganga, Yamuna, Doab. Number 2, Ganga, Yamuna, Doab. After that, you will always keep a buffer zone so that if somebody attacks, you never know. So you take Bundelkhand also. And then comes number 3, Delhi. The capital has to belong to the Sultan. Now tell me, future bureaucrats, since it is the land of the Sultan, who would collect land revenue from here? Perfect, Wazir, because Wazir is also the personal secretary of Sultan, Diwan-e-Wizarat. The Prime Minister also happens to be the Deputy Secretary of Sultan, just like your PS, who will become the driver of your wife or your husband at times. कि जाओ जरा साड़ी की शॉपिंग करा देना. करवाओगे तुम, मुझे पता है. करप्शन वहीं से शुरू होता है. वहां तक गई हो तो वहां से जरा लड्डू वाला पैकेट भी ले आना, वो जो सिनेमा हॉल चलाता है उसके पास, और वो ले जाकर चांदनी चौक वाले को दे देना, जो कि वो हवाला करके मेरा वो लैंड खरीद देगा नोएडा में. सब सिखाते हैं तुमको लवासना में. How to not get caught. Number 3 is the Madad land. Madad से ही समझ में आ रहा है, help. But Madad land is a very, फिर हुंडी पे सवाल क्या पूछ रहा है? आपने ही सिखा दिया हुंडी. हाँ, exactly. हुंडी का निक्षेप हुंडी, तभी तो गुजराती जैन मर्चेंट्स, मारवाड़ी, मारवाड़, गुजरात, नीरव मोदी, everybody. Number 1, Inam, a gift. Inam land. Within Madad comes a subdivision of land, Inam land. This land is hereditary but taxable. Hereditary but taxable. Number 2 is the land called milk. From where comes the term milkiyat? ये दूध वाला मिल्क नहीं है, ये भी एक फारसी शब्द है. मिल्क जहां से आया है, मिल्कियत, मालिकाना. So that is the personal property Again, this is hereditary and this is taxable. Now आज आप एक ऐसी चीज सीखेंगे जो आपको नहीं आता. The third form of land. The third form of land is called waqf. याद रखिएगा, waqf is actually a piece of land. तो जब बोलते हैं ना waqf board, so it is a board to control a piece of land. बात समझ रहे हो? Waqf is not a body which does not have a physical character. It has a character. It's a land, piece of land. So waqf is basically religious endowment. So do not commit mistakes like other people. Waqf. This land is given for certain purposes only. For example, for building the schools, madrasa, for building mosques, for building offices for Hajj, to help people. This is the only land within Madad which is not only hereditary but non-taxable. समझ आई बात? मॉस्क पे टैक्स कैसे लगाओगे? But again, there is an exception. The most ferocious sultan of this time period, Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji took tax from everyone, taxed waqf also. Matlab, he took tax from the Madad lands also. हाँ बेटा, वक्फ is a piece of land. जमीन का टुकड़ा दे रहे हो तुम. So basically, वक्फ is equal to देवदान और पलीचंद. ठीक. Number 2 is ikta. 80% of the property of the Sultanate. It is here from where the revenue is collected, the source of income for the Sultanate. And this is given to the nobles, iktadars. इसको बहुत डिटेल में करना है, डोंट वरी, वो बहुत डिटेल है. अभी फिलहाल इतना ही, धीरे धीरे, कुंजम कुंजम. इकतारी नहीं बेटा, इक्तादारी. ठीक है. One, two, three. KIM. So until Balban, there is no expansion. ठीक. बाद में और लोग भी तो आएंगे. खिलजी आएंगे, तुगलक आएंगे, लोधी आएंगे. So when those will come, they will expand. So now Delhi Sultanate has expanded after Balban, which we will study, don't worry, but we have to understand the whole area of the Delhi Sultanate. They have expanded. In other words, a fourth piece of land is added. Take this fourth piece of land is called Sikh. S-I-Q-H, Sikh. This Sikh is different from the first three because from here you collect only tribute. Tribute only, no tax, only tribute. You collect tribute. So Alauddin Khilji started expansion. He expanded, brought new territories, and then he further divided Sikh into packets of villages. The whole 4 is being further divided. So in other words, we can say that Sikh is nothing else but group of villages together. Group of villages together is called a Sadi. From here comes the word Sadi, 100. A group of 100 villages. Sadi. कहते ना एक सदी बीत गई, फारसी word. Now, since it is a tribute paying area, you will send only one officer to collect the tribute. That one officer is called Amiran e Sida. Amiran e Sida. समझ आई बात? ये और क्लियर होगा, बहुत क्लियर होगा. After the 2.5 hours lectures today, you will understand everything. एक एक करके होगा, पहले कॉन्सेप्ट समझेंगे. क्लियर है? आगे बढ़ो. So this is the Sultanate. And 80% of Sultanate is Ikta, which is given to Iktadars. ठीक है? Now, what is Ikta? Ikta is a land assignment. It is a land assignment given to Iktadars in lieu of service. Which is rent free. ठीक? Now, who is the Iktadar? Iktadar is the one who is loyal to the Sultan. Why he has been given this land? To maintain law and order. He has to also maintain army. Don't you think it looks like feudalism? It's not. It's not. Because it is not hereditary and it is transferable. That these two features make Ikta system not a feudal system. It is not feudalism. Therefore, आप क्या सीखे? That Iktadar is always an official category. They are officials. They are never vassals. यहाँ पर vassal exist नहीं करता. UPSC 2018 question number 1. So they asked the first question on this and the whole paper went bad. Because it was the first question. You can go and check. What was second? मतलब second बोले तो? What was second, sir? समझ में नहीं आती था अंग्रेजी तुम्हारी. Sir, with transfer we mean to their family members. Yes. It is like a bureaucrat. So there is no vassal concept here. There's no vassal. The term ikta or this ikta system was borrowed actually. The term ikta was first mentioned as a concept in a book called Siyasatnama, a book which was written by Nizam ul Mulk Tusi. In lieu of service, अरे बेटा तुम काम करोगे तो तनख्वाह लोगे, तुमको जमीन का टुकड़ा दे रहा है. That is ikta for you. Whenever you have the next lecture with me, whenever I am giving you a head start, bring your phones with extra memory, open the audio, keep it in front, record it, because you will take 6 months to revise lecture number 5. It's a tough lecture. Come prepared, have your proper breakfast, and possibly bring bigger sheets, at least 5 or 6. Oh, transferable matlab you are posted as a DM of Bhagalpur, you would be transferred next day to Jaunpur. The person is transferable. Post क्यों transfer करोगे? इकता टेबल. बोलो 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 सही. अरे शर्माओ मत, बोलो. मैं वहां के पूछू, बताओ बताओ सही. कुछ पूछना है पूछो ना. अच्छा, नाम है, उन्होंने किताब लिखा सियासतनामा, उसमें पहली बार उन्होंने इकता की बात की. वो सेल्जुकित के कोर्ट में थे. अब इस सेल्जुकित कौन है पूछोगे? छोड़ो ना. हाँ, दिखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, सिलेबस के बाहर है. अरेबिया में तो नहीं बनना ना ब्यूरोक्रेट, तो छोड़ो. भागलपुर रॉक्स, हाँ रॉक है उधर. जब जाते हो ट्रेन से विक्रमशिला से पहले तो रॉक मिलता है उधर, वो वाला रॉक, भागलपुर रॉक. तुम लोग ने रीजनल में ही रह जाओगे. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में लिखा वी द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया, वी आर इंडियंस. This table you revise before going for the exam, ठीक? So that you remember what to do. Iltutmish. In his time period, you have only 3 forms of land: Khalsa, Ikta, Madad. ठीक? Then comes Balban. Balban says, let us keep the way things are, status quo. You understand the status quo? Those who do not understand, you have seen that movie, 3 Idiots. जैसा चल रहा है चलने दें, इंजन बनाइए लौंडे को. स्टेटस को जैसा चल रहा है चलने दें. Alauddin comes and he gives you Khalsa, Sikh, in the bracket right, abolished Ikta. Plus Madad, in the bracket, please do write taxed. Remember, he taxed Waqf land, he is the only exception. Then comes Muhammad bin Tughlaq, MBT. He gives you status quo. But by his time, madad again becomes non-taxable. ठीक. Then comes फिरोज भाई. फिरोज भाई चिंता ही नहीं करते. खालसा brings back ikta and makes it hereditary. In other words, during the time of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, iktadari system was exactly like Samanta system plus madad. Explain madad. No, I won't. I won't. अबे अंग्रेज एक मिनट रुको. क्या लिखा है इतना बड़ा यहाँ पे? मदद. Explain madad. Now comes Yogi Adityanath of Delhi Sultanate. Below these, they just change names. Khalsa becomes Khalisa. Ikta becomes Jagir. And Madad becomes Madad-e-Mash. Could you please elaborate FST point? Just remember, he made Ikta hereditary. Samanta system. The two clauses that was transferable and non-hereditary was removed. Simple. That is a table. If you remember, things would be easy for you. No, it is only FST. समझ आ गई बात? आगे बढ़े. Once again, from the start, you had the riyasat, sultanat. Exactly, सुन लीजिए मेरी बात लिखने से पहले. You will write exactly the way I am writing. You will write in the middle. Sultanat. Now we are going to break it further. ठीक. Sultanat had vilayat. Vilayat is the province which had mukti, the governor. Now tell me, is governor a vassal or an officer? Good. Good. तुमको अभी स्लाइड पीछे वाला देखना है. एक मिनट रुक जाओ, इनको देख लेने दो. विलायत. After vilayat, the province is further divided into blocks. Sikh. Sikh. This Sikh is just like a district. है ना? Sikh is the district. So it will have a district magistrate. Sikhdar. And a muqaddam. यहीं से शब्द आया है, मुकद्दमा. So muqaddam is the IPS officer, Sikhdar is the IAS officer, district magistrate. ठीक. Vilayat, Sikh. And after Sikh, you have Gram. That is a village. ठीक. Gram. Gram has Khut. Remember Khut? Now Khut is the zamindar. He will not work. Have you seen a zamindar going and collecting the revenue? No. He has gunda with him. Those gundas are called chaudhary. That is why we still normally you will see in boys gang there is always a chaudhary. कहते ना ज़्यादा चौधरी मत बनो, ज़्यादा चौधराहट मत फैलाओ. A chaudhary is the one who thinks he knows a lot. He has solution for every problem, but normally he will put you in a problem. Every group, normally boys, लड़कियों का नहीं पता. Khut has a Chaudhary, and here you have a junior officer, Shikdar, and a junior officer of Muqaddam. Muqaddam. इसको ऐसे याद कर सकते हो. They are UPSC. This is UPPCS. Who is IPS? तुमको कौन लगता है कौन होगा? पहले ऊपर किसका नाम लिखूंगा मैं? IAS का लिखूंगा ना. रैंक अच्छी आएगी तो सिकदार बनोगे. चौधरी कलेक्ट टैक्स. हाँ, आफ्टर ब्रेकिंग द हेड. ठीक है. सो इमेजिन दिस इज इल्तुतमिश's टाइम पीरियड. शुरुआत है ये. देन कम्स बलबन. What did I tell you about Balban? He does not trust anybody. ठीक. Who are those people who can take his throne? Who are the privateers in this table? Only two. One is the governor, almost equivalent to a sultan, almost. And the second is the zamindar. So what he does, he puts a check on these people. At the level of vilayat, he creates a position of a khwaja. Khwaja is an auditor. And at the level of gram, he puts muttasarif, auditor, at the level of gram. This muttasarif is given two clerks, karkun. Two clerks. Why? One writes in Persian, the other writes in Sanskrit. That also tells you that Sanskrit was spoken until the time of Balban in the villages. ठीक? Now Muttasarif keeps an eye on Zamindar, whether he is giving you the right amount of revenue collection or is he fooling us, the state. So he is the auditor. The auditor then prepares the report and sends it to Khwaja. The report is sent through a spy called a Barid. Barid takes the report and takes it to Khwaja. गुप्तचर के माध्यम से भिजवाएगा. Khwaja receives the report from every village. Then he will consolidate all the reports at his level. He will compare it with the records of Mukti. He will then send a final report to Balban through a Barid spy. If he finds a fault, Balban will call the person at the time of breakfast. He will not leave for dinner. सीधा सर जाएगा. घर सर भिजवा देगा वो. The person is dead if he is corrupt. That is how he would behave. That is Balban. Alauddin Khilji abolishes it. Muhammad bin Tughlaq does not keep it. Firoz Shah Tughlaq makes it hereditary. कुछ हुआ नहीं. फिर चेंज आएगा लोदीज में. लोदीज आर नाउ कॉलिंग इट जागीर. ये नाम बदलते हैं भैया. हमने बात यही की थी. By the time of Lodhis, remember, now you have 1, 2, 3 inner circle and 4. You have a bigger Delhi Sultanate now. So you have to make new system. Vilayat is now changed to Suba. And now Suba has a governor, Subadar. The territory has expanded. A small district would not do. So he breaks Sikh into two. Sarkar, Pargana. And Gram remains Gram. Also called Mauza. Mauza hi Mauza. Sarkar has a Sikdar and a Mukaddam. Pargana has a Sikdar and a Mukaddam. Gram has a Khut, Chaudhary, Sikdar and a Mukaddam. The table is ready. Shabash. He will audit Mukti's account. He has taken the consolidated report from the auditor. He has got a consolidated report. Now he will calculate his report. He will compare his final report with the final report of the Mukti. What if there is a discrepancy? Mukti is gone. Muttasarif. Officials normally do not cheat. If they do, they know they will have to suffer a lot. Think about it. You're an IAS officer. Would you ever like to take Firoti from the Home Minister? Try once. Can you please tell Klarkun is clerk? Clerk. Typist. अरे काटकूम नहीं रे यार, कारकून, कून, के है ये, क्या? जी सरकार ऐसा समझ लो, सरकार is now the district, Pargana is now the block, and Gram is Gram. है ना? What is the relation between Lodhis and Jagir? Nothing. No relation. Karkun Didi what? Karkun Didi? Karkun did what? Acha. Muttasarif is the auditor. यार एक बात बताओ, he needs somebody to prepare the report ना, अकेले बनाएगा बेचारा? He will go all the places, look at every land, he will calculate everything. Do you think he can do it all alone? No, he needs help. तुम लोग सीधे स्कूल से सीधे निकल के मेरे पास ही आए हो क्या? दुनिया देखा है कभी? मौजा इज अनदर नेम ऑफ, किसके नीचे लिखा? तो इसी का होगा. और कोई सवाल? तुम अगर ऑफलाइन होते तो तुम नहीं पूछते ये सब. After the 5th lecture, please decide whether you want to continue with preparing and keeping history as an option for PT as well as mains. Kharaj, the main land revenue tax. Thank you, Chetan. So nice of you. I'm obliged. Kharaj. According to Sharia, the highest permissible tax that you can take, highest permissible, is 50%. The only ruler to take 50% kharaj, who was Alauddin Khilji? Alauddin took 50%. No less, no more. Pura ka pura 50. the best Sultan of Delhi Sultanate. He took 50%. Number 2, ghadi is the house tax. And number 3 is charai, grazing tax. आपको सुन के खराब लगता होगा ना, अलाउद्दीन खिलजी है 50% ले रहा है और मैं उसको अच्छा कह रहा हूं, बिकॉज अलाउद्दीन कहता था give me 50%, I do not want any of these. I will give you security, I will give you roads, I will give you education. Give me 50%. हो गया ना अच्छा आदमी. So half the fact makes him cruel. Knowing of the whole fact makes him better. Now comes 2 more taxes. Number 4, number 5. Irrigation tax. Sharab. And jizya. These 2 taxes were taken by only one sultan, Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Actually, I have told you already. So I'm adding the fact. So you can write Brahmins also paid, because we have done that. Ho gaya taxes up. Takes from Brahman also. Not Brahmins. Firoz Shah Tughlaq took from everybody, also Brahmins. Ek minute. Alauddin, Iltutmish, Balban, they are not taking jizya. Don't worry. No one. After Muhammad bin Qasim, it is only Firoz Shah. And after Firoz Shah, it will be directly later somebody else. बीच में कोई नहीं ले रहा जजिया. If you are asking that. हाँ. तभी तो मैंने लिखा सीधा फिरोज शाह तुगलक. Land revenue system. मसाहत. टाइम है मेरे पास. जब आधा घंटा बचेगा ना तो बता देना मुझको. मतलब when it is 1, let me know because I will forget. तो मैं थोड़ा फास्ट कर दूंगा. छोड़ेगा नहीं, फास्ट कर देगा. हुक्म ए हासिल. हुक्म ए हासिल. The crop sharing method of Iltutmish and obviously Balban also. Hukm e hasil. Whether Kharaj levied from Khalsa land. Ajin, you tell me. You are the ruler. Will you take tax from yourself? Think out. No, socho. The problem with this system is there has to be a piece of land with a standing crop. Crop sharing method. You have to see the crop. Now imagine the Shikdar goes to the village. He decides he will take this much as tax. He looks at the crop. He takes 1/3 kharaj. Jizya is what type of tax? Interesting tax. Poll tax. Anyway, कहाँ थे हम? 3rd सौरभ रिवाइज करके आते हो ऐसे आते हो? लेक्चर 3 रिवाइज किया? नहीं, समय नहीं मिल रहा होगा, बहुत काम होगा. 1/3 kharaj. Can anybody tell me the advantage of this system? छोड़ दो, हटाओ, क्या बताओगे? State and the peasant share both profit and loss. Correct? Together. You see the crop, if it's a bad crop, both will suffer. Right? The state will get less. Now, can you tell me the disadvantage of this system? Tell me the disadvantage. Let me see if you are prepared for UPSC. मैं तुमको एक सेंटेंस कहेगा. That's a hint. In India, everyone hates the other person. In India, you are poor, does not matter. The other person should not be rich. दूसरों की खुशी बर्दाश्त नहीं होती हमसे. Now think. हाँ? जी. Drought. हाँ, so the loss is shared by both, no? Loss ही हुआ ना एक तरह से. It's a loss. It's a state's loss. Neighbor destroying crop. Exactly, Norman Saab. You are very right. IRS officer, imagine, has to come to see the crop to take a share. He has to come on 5th of March. Your neighbor has burnt your crop on 4th of March. What will you share? Tambura. So therefore, disadvantages. Security is an issue. And security has to be maintained by the state because it is state subject. So it is further burden on the state. He has to ensure, the state has to ensure, until the time the auditing has happened, the crop is safe. पैसा लगा ना state को, पैसा ज़्यादा देना पड़ रहा है. Now tell me the toughest UPSC question. Will you continue with the system? No? Yes? Will you continue with the system? If it is so disadvantageous, will you continue with the system? You will continue with the system. That is what is the honest answer. Now tell me why. लोग करना है. मैंने कैश वैश की बात की नहीं ना. कहां ला रहे हो कैश? जितना इंफॉर्मेशन दिया है उसी से काम चलाना है. ऐसे करेंगे कॉम्प्रिहेंशन. अच्छा छोड़ो वो सब. आज के डेट में इंडिया गोज इनटू अ बैटल विथ श्रीलंका. What do you need in the battle? How will you fight? What is your weapon? What is your weapon? Helicopter. Economy. Your weapon is the tank and the BrahMos missile. No, missiles. Do they have missiles? So what is their weapon in a battlefield? Sword. Are horses. Horses. What do they eat? Where will the grass and the fodder come from? It's a very simple thing to understand. You have horses as your strength. If you stop taking crop, what would you feed them? So even if it is a disadvantageous system, you will continue with it. बात समझ में आ रही है? UPSC asks you basic questions and that are the toughest. The toughest question of UPSC are the basic questions of UPSC. समझ आई बात? So this system will continue. Does it continue even today? It does. It does. छोड़ो कोई बात नहीं, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Use your brains so that things become easy. हुक्म ए मसाहत. The measurement system introduced by none other than Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji had a keen eye to spot the genius in his kingdom. Alauddin Khilji एक अलग ही किस्म का व्यक्ति है. This man had a Jaina mathematician in his court. Whose name was Thakur Feru. He wrote 2 books. Ganit Sar and Dravya Pariksha. If you are thoda bhi intelligent, you know that these books are written in Sanskrit. Ganitasar. Ganitasar का क्या मतलब हुआ? The essence of mathematics. It's a book on mathematics. Dravya Pariksha. Dravya means metal. The book of weight and measures. He was a mathematician. Alauddin gave him a work. He said, go to every part of my kingdom and measure it. Thakur Feru begins to measure the land in the kingdom. And for the first time, you get a measurement unit, Biswa. Go to Rajasthan area, go to Bijnor, Biswa as a measuring unit is still used. If you are from that area. If you do not have an idea, have never been to the village, then you will have to rote learn this. Biswa. The first unit ever introduced in Delhi Sultanate period, Biswa. Now what he says, that I need 50% kharaj. Remember? Alauddin says, I want every tax to be collected in kind. I do not need cash, I need grains. मुझे cash नहीं चाहिए. I do not want cash, I want grains. So if you are taking grains, you have to store it. In other words, Alauddin is the first sultan to give you granaries, silos. The first granary was built in Cheh and the second was in Delhi. Cheh, Rajasthan. तुम पूछ रहे हो अभी भी हॉर्सेस को फीड करना है. प्रेसिडेंट के आर्मी में वो बिट ट्रेड परेड में कौन होता है? गधा. कहाँ हो यार तुम? आर्मी में डॉग स्क्वाड सुना है कभी? वो क्या खाएंगे? रुपया 500 वाला हरा वाला. बीसवा इज अ मेजरमेंट यूनिट. इसमें कौन सी बात समझ में नहीं आ रही है? क्लियर है? ग्रैनरी सिस्टम. नंबर 3, हुक्म ए वफा ए बीसवा. टैक्स फार्मिंग मेथड. Introduced by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. I have just told you he made Iqta hereditary. सत्यम, तुम ना कभी कभी ना मेरे माँ की तरह बिहेव करते हो. You repeat what I say with a question mark. Thakur Feru was a Jaina mathematician? Question mark. हाँ रे, वही तो लिखा था. अरे बसवा नहीं, 20वां, 20वां, 1/20th, 20वां। हिंदी बेल्ट वालों से तो कम से कम उम्मीद कर सकता हूं मैं। अभी तो मैं पूरी तरह फारसी में भी नहीं आया। Firoz Shah Tughlaq makes Iqta hereditary, means he says he does not care where the tax come from. He does not care who gives him the tax. He cares that the tax reaches him after the end of the year. Whether it is you, your son, your cousin, your nephew, he does not care. So what he has done is he has made Iqta hereditary. Now 50% of the Kharaj, Alauddin Khilji has already measured everything. He says whatever is the tax, let us say this is a piece of land where the tax is 50 kgs rice. He says convert it into cash. Let us say 5 lakhs. He says by end of the year get me 5 lakhs. He does not care anything else. 5 लाख मेरे पास पहुंच जाने चाहिए. Tax farming method. But it is थोड़ा और complicated. It is थोड़ा और complicated. He is interested in the money. By end of the year, where does it come from? He does not care. So hukm e wafa, wafa पर टिका है ये. Trust. So imagine in this area lives 3 people, A, B, C, and all these 3 are khut. They are zamindars of this area. They come to know about this scheme that Firoz Shah does not care who gives him the money. He is interested that he gets the money. These 3 people now start bidding. Person A says, sir, I will get you 5,10,000. Give me this job. The other zamindar says, I will pay you 5,20,000. Give me the job. तीसरा जो है वो बहुत तेज है, बोलता मैं 6 लाख देगा, मुझको दे दो. I will pay 6 lakhs to you as revenue. Give me the work. So can we call these people the bidders, and can we call C the highest bidder? Can we call him the highest bidder? Understood? The highest bidder can also be called tax farmer. A tax farmer is doing what? Tax farming. He's farming taxes. He's not producing anything. He's making money on your money. Tax farming के लिए फारसी में शब्द है इजारा. So what he becomes? Ijaradar. From here comes the term ijaradari system. Now this term is not coined at the time of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Who coined this term? Who coined this term? Ijaradari system. Socho. How did British collect their tax? Whoever can give more money, he will give that offer to you. That process began from the time of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. It was given a name at the time much later. The process had already begun. Ijaradari system. The highest bidder, the tax farmer. It is a connecting concept and it is important. क्या लिखा है मैंने भाई? इजारादारी सिस्टम. ठीक है? Have you understood the connection? फिरोज शाह तुगलक. आप बहुत सीख चुके हैं, अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. 1 बज के नहीं? बहुत बढ़िया. कहाँ जा रहे हो? जाओ. Jalaluddin Khilji. Jalaluddin had killed a 6-year-old child. He had gone into a different kind of a depression. He was a 70-year-old man and he had certain things under his belt. That is, he was the first one ever to defeat Mongols. Actually, he did it by treachery, but still. He karta kya hai? He gets his daughter married to one of the Mongol commanders. And that Mongol commander goes and fight against the Mongols. So they win. But anyway, win is a win. Jalaluddin Khilji had killed a 6-year-old man. And he was dying of the kind of sin he had committed. He tried going different places. He tried to meet Nizamuddin Aulia. Nizamuddin Aulia said, I will not meet you. He is further dying with anxiety that he will go to hell. Anyway, after taking the throne, he has completely changed as a person. Now he has become benevolent. He's not killing anybody. He has become benevolent overnight. So his time period is known for rebellions. His time period is known for rebellions. Rebellion number 1, the rebellion of Sidi Mola. You remember Sidi, Abyssinians? Sidi Mola was a Sufi saint of the Abyssinian slaves. Abyssinian the. He was a black African man. And he one day declared, anybody who is a Muslim here? All right. He once in his life declared that he is the Mahdi from Qutub Minar. He went to Qutub Minar and he said, he is the revered one. He is the one who is going to come and he will make everything better. In Islamic world, it's a very important position of a Mahdi. It was a controversial position, obviously, because he was claiming almost an equal status like Prophet. And he declared himself from Qutub Minar. So Jalaluddin Khilji hanged him from Qutub Minar. Sidi Mola was killed by Jalaluddin. He is in depression, but he kills him. In depression, Sidi Mola is killed. First rebellion and first death. Number 2, the rebellion of Chajju. The Chajju's rebellion. Now, who is Chajju? Chajju is the nephew of Balban. So when he came to know that the grandchild, and that too a 6-year-old child, was killed, he rose and went to take revenge. Mara gaya. He was also killed. Chajju was not a fighter. Chajju was not a fighter. So these are the 2 rebellions which you have to remember. But we have to come back to Chajju because he is very important for us. हम चज्जू की बात करेंगे अब. A man, a very pious man, a gentleman actually, a disciple of Nizamuddin Aulia. This man asked Balban to give him a small milk. Remember milk? A personal property. He said, give me a milk. I want to retire. I do not want to be a mukti. Balban gave him a milk at a village called Maniari village, which is in UP, Uttar Pradesh. He shifted to Maniari and he became a pious man, worshipping, writing, all these things. He was good at writing and praying, so he did that only. Now, the second character has to enter. As I said, during the time of Balban, the Mongol invasion was a big problem. Mongol invasion was happening. So many families who lived on the borders migrated to India. Many families migrated because of the trouble that the Mongols brought whenever they invaded. So the families who were living at the borders, they migrated to India. We are not interested in every family. We are interested in one. One family came to Maniari, one family, and settled at Maniari. एक परिवार. बहुत हुए होंगे. We are interested in one. In this family, once they settled in India, a boy was born, Abul Hasan. So he becomes an Indian Muslim. He was born in India, Maniari. This boy was a genius. At the age of 4, when he was just 4 years old, he wrote his first couplet in Farsi, जिसको आप बोलते हो कसीदा. He wrote his first kasida when he was just 4 years old. आप couplet समझ लो, दोहा समझ लो, क्योंकि उससे ज्यादा मैं समझा नहीं पाऊंगा. Chajju takes this child and makes him his disciple. So Chajju becomes the first teacher of Abul Hasan. Abul Hasan is trained under Chajju. At the age of 16, 17, Chajju tells Abul Hasan, I cannot teach you anymore. You know more than me. So it is better that you go to my master. Abul Hasan is then sent to Nizamuddin Aulia. Nizamuddin Aulia becomes his second master. Second master or teacher, whatever you want to write. Abul Hasan has grown very close to Nizamuddin Aulia. After a point in time, after a point comes in his life, where Nizamuddin says, I cannot keep you for myself only. The world needs to see the brightness that you have. So Abul Hasan is asked by Nizamuddin Aulia to join the Sultanate court. And at that time, the ruler was Kaikubad. So he joins the court of Kaikubad. I have already told you that he will not stay for long. After 4 years, he will die. This Abul Hasan from Kaikubad's court goes to the Khiljis. So Jalaluddin Khilji के court में आ गया ये. And from Jalaluddin Khilji's court, he will move to Alauddin Khilji's court. Abul Hasan, is going to serve 9 sultans in his lifetime. No, 9 people. Jalaluddin gives him an epithet. He calls Abul Hasan the parrot of India. Tuti-e-Hind. And confers him, makes him a noble. बोला क्या अबुल हसन रहेगा तो नोबल बन जा. अमीर खुशरो. Abul Hasan gets a new name, Amir Khushro, the parrot of India. This guy, Amir Khushro, goes on to write a lot of books. He is the father of Hindavi. Is the father of Hindavi, which will give you later 2 languages, Hindi and Urdu. Hindavi. He is the inventor of sitar and tabla. He gives you sitar and tabla. And in the Hindustani classical music, he adds a style of singing, khayal. He introduces khayal. From khayal comes the concept of call, and from call comes the concept of kawwali. Amir Khushro for you. फादर ऑफ हिंदुस्तानी म्यूजिक में भी ख्याल स्पेसिफिक बताइए, मतलब लिखिए, वो ख्याल देते हैं. मिफ्ताओ फतू, खजाएं फतू, नूर सिपिर, एजाज खुशरवी, देवल रानी खिजर खान. He writes a lot of books. I can keep on going on and on, but anyway, इतना काफी है. No, that's okay. For us, it is he. No controversy. He is he. एक साथ हो गया, कोई बात नहीं. अमीर खुसरो, ठीक है, आगे बढ़े. जलालुद्दीन खिलजी. Jalaluddin Khilji had given up, and he had a nephew, Al-Gohrasp. The name of his nephew was Al-Gohrasp. Now, Al-Gohrasp thought that Jalal is not the right person to rule. But before he could do anything about it, he wanted to test waters. I mean, he wanted to test whether he's strong or not. So just to test himself, in 1296, he invaded the Yadav kingdom's capital, Devgiri, and looted a lot of money. ठीक? The second thing that he did, he killed Jalaluddin Khilji. Khatam. That's it. After killing Jalaluddin Khilji, Al-Gohrasp takes the throne, and now he takes a new name, Alauddin Khilji. 1296 to 1316. Alauddin Khilji. Happy family. Alauddin Khilji is a very important man. He's a very important man. Why? Because he is that Sultan who defeated Mongols decisively. He defeated Mongols decisively. After his defeat, Mongols did not come for the next 100 years. No, 250 years. Mongols stopped coming after him. He was that great. Now, I told you, Mongols are very cute people. They do not discriminate. They rape men and women equally. So they were monsters for everyone. And everybody wanted Mongols to be controlled. Mongols had done a very heinous crime in 1258. In 1258, Mongols had killed the last caliph, Abbasid Caliph. And that has brought the caliphate down to its knees. There was no caliph since 1258. 1258 में last caliph मर जाता है, and there is no caliph in the world. The world is without caliph. ठीक? And he is going to defeat Mongols. So Amir Khushro, who is also in his court, gives him two titles. Title number 1, he calls him Khalifa, the only Delhi Sultanate Sultan to be given this title, Khalifa. आज भी इनके इसके मजार पर लोग दिया जलाते हैं, because he has been elevated to the position of sainthood, because he took care of a problem which nobody could. In those days, Mongols से बड़ा कोई problem नहीं था. And the second title that was given to him was Sikandar Sani, the second Alexander the Great. The second Alexander the Great. दोनों के बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट मतलब है. पहला समझा दिया, दूसरा तो मैंने समझाया भी नहीं, but you will just try it right now. ठीक? Genghis Khan is searching for Jalaluddin, then Al-Ghuraib should be a friend of Mongols. Why is it not happening, sir? Correct me if I'm wrong. बोला, Genghis is dead and Alauddin is born. During this, there's a gap of 126 years. Do you understand? It is like asking कि सर आप ऐसा क्यों पढ़ा रहे हैं? नेहरू जी तो नहीं बोले थे. बात समझ रहे हो मैं कहां जा रहा हूं? Alauddin Khilji had friends and great military commanders under him. His friends were greatest of the military commanders that he could have thought of. As I said, he had a very keen eye. He had 5 such military commanders, which nobody had in those days. That will make Alauddin Khilji's life easy. Alp Khan, Ulugh Khan. Now do not confuse, he is a different Ulugh Khan. Nusrat Khan, Zafar Khan, and finally a slave bought from Gujarat at a meager amount, at a massive amount of 1000 dinar. 1000 dinar देकर एक slave को खरीदा गया. So he was called 1000 dinari. But Alauddin gave him a different name, Malik Kafur. Five people. Malik Kafur. Ferocious man. They were ferocious even than the Mongols. Very ferocious. ठीक? जी पूछ लीजिए. हाँ हाँ, this Khan is a military title, but see what is happening is धीरे धीरे लोग अपना नाम लेते जाएंगे, but खान सरनेम मुगलों में बनेगा. वो भी पढ़ाऊंगा आपको. Now Padmavati movie will do justice or to our knowledge, we can understand better. Padmavati is not a great movie. That is false. Do not. बाकी आपकी मर्जी. Mongols were of which religion? सौरभ, तुम रिवाइज नहीं कर रहे हो. ऐसे काम नहीं बनेगा बेटा. ऐसे में तो तुमसे बैंक का पीओ ना निकले. ऐसे काम नहीं बनेगा. Go and revise lecture 3. I have taught you that. Alauddin. बहुत हो गया ना, ये और होगा. अलाउद्दीन खिलजी सोते जागते बस एक चीज सोचता है. He only thinks about one thing: how to defeat the Mongols, how to solve the problem. And he has three things in mind. A, strong army. If you have to defeat Mongols, how to defeat Mongols? That is the question. So he needs a strong army, which means A, he needs horses. B, he needs military technology. B, he needs provisions. If he is going to keep a big army, he needs to feed the army. It means market reforms. Both are connected. That is what Alauddin will do. Hi team, can I get which last में लिखते हो ना तुम लोग? I hope you understand. Nobody understands, and nobody cares also. अभी तो सिखाया दुनिया जालिम है, but still you can try. Write a mail. How to defeat Mongols? Strong army, horses, military technology. And यही करना है और हमें तीनों समझना है. अलाउद्दीन. अच्छा सर, अलाउद्दीन बार बार क्या लिखोगे? सीधा लिखो A, horses. You need horses. Horses कहां से आएंगे? Central Asia and Arabia. How will you bring them? You will bring them through Khyber Pass. Now there is a problem. The problem is Mongols will come from Khyber Pass. So the problem is if you keep Khyber Pass open, Mongols will come. If you keep it closed, horses won't come. It's a catch-22 situation. So he plans something else. Alauddin is very different from Balban. Balban said consolidate. Remember, Alauddin says expand. In other words, look for an alternative route. Alternative route will be sea route. Closest sea route is Gujarat. So let's take Gujarat. You understand what he's doing? He is different from Balban. Balban said consolidate. He says expand. That is the basic difference between Alauddin and Balban. He says expand. And he's looking for an alternate route. Now look what he does. He takes Gujarat. 1297. Then he takes northern Rajasthan. 1301. Then he takes southern Rajasthan. 1302. Then he takes Malwa. 1303. 4. Why? For the safe passage for horses. Does he stop? Obviously not. He goes ahead. Number 5, he takes Maharashtra. 13056. Then he takes Andhra. 13067. Then he takes Madurai. And then he finally takes Dwar Samudram, that is Karnataka. 1309 to 11. He takes whole of India. Khattam. He takes whole of India. So the question is, if this is the area from where he get the safe passage for horses, why these? Why these? Sikh area from where he will collect tribute. He is a very interesting man. इससे बढ़िया प्लानर नहीं है. He has planned things to solve the problem. He is only thinking about Mongols, nothing else. And you will understand. अब आपको ये समझ आएगा that why did he abolish Ikta and how does it help you understand everything. और जब आप पढ़ समझेंगे तो यूरेका मोमेंट होगा कि अच्छा ऐसा हुआ, तब ऐसा इसने किया होगा. Then things will become clear. Have you understood this? He has taken all the places. You do not have to remember all the names, मतलब all the years. मुझे याद था इसलिए बता दिया. आपको आप भूल भी जाओ तो चलेगा. So expansionist policies of Alauddin Khilji. Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas. Whom did he defeat while taking south? छोड़ो. Five to 8 areas are for Sikh only. अभी तुम देखो तो इवांका लिखा पहले, लिख लिया, समझ गए, लिख लिया, नोट कर लिया, आगे समझो. He takes till Bengal. He leaves the coastal belt. इतना पूरा उसके अंदर है. ठीक, ध्यान से समझना है. We will understand it first. ठीक, imagine that Alauddin Khilji is like Balban. Imagine that Alauddin Khilji is like Balban and he has expanded and he has kept Ikta everywhere. Ikta here. ऐसे तो नहीं होगा ना, रुको. Imagine that this area he keeps Khalsa. ठीक, rest of the area he makes it Ikta. Ikta here, Ikta here, Ikta, 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 everywhere. Correct? Every Iktadar has to maintain army. So everybody is maintaining their army in the place where they live. Mongols attack from this area. So it is easy to destroy certain Iktadars and reach Delhi. But Alauddin is not Balban. Alauddin is Alauddin. So what he does? He says, no more Ikta Vikta. हटाओ सबको. कोई Ikta नहीं रहेगा. There are only two places in my area. One is the Khalsa and the rest of the places is the Sikh territory. Just send one official to collect the revenue. Now the question is, where are the Iktadars now? He says, all the Iktadars, pack your bags and come and stand here. All the Iktadars are standing with their army. आओ मंगोल बताते हैं तुमको. अब लड़ाई होगी. You understand what he did? He consolidated all his force towards the northwest frontier province. Now Iktadar will ask, sir, how about our salary? How will we eat? He says, I am collecting grains. I will feed you. Don't worry. He's an intelligent man. That is what he did. He converted every area into Sikh territory, abolished Ikta. That is how he will win off. ठीक? He's a very intelligent man. Before he will put Iktadars here, he will start giving bribes to many Mongol families. Not every Mongol is a bad person. So he will invite many Mongols to come and settle in India. And very intelligently, he will give them space to settle here. So those Mongols who are good will be settled here. So when the Mongols will attack, they will have to kill their people first, then the army, then they will reach Delhi. That particular place still exists around Delhi. You call it Mongolpuri. Alauddin Khilji. He is a man who is creating a human buffer so that he can stop the Mongols coming from Central Asia to India. बात समझ आ रही है आपको? बोले घटिया का भी जो पराकाष्ठा होता है उससे भी ऊपर है वो. That is Alauddin for you. So horses have come. अब क्या करें? He has brought horses. Now at any time they can take the sea route also, the Mongols. So he starts the horse breeding center called the Paigas in Delhi. This is the same thing that China is doing at our border, creating human fur. Okay, if you say so. Write that in the exam and flunk. Sir, horses are brought to India even today. Khachar are still used in India today. And still, those people who think that they are handsome, in their marriages they sit on a horse. नीचे खड़े लोग से पूछो, वो बताएंगे तुमको कि घोड़ा के ऊपर एक गधा बैठा है. He started the branding system of horses. Branding system, the Dag Chehra system. Dag and Chehra, a kind of a Aadhaar for the horses. Every horse was branded and so was the soldier. So you know which horse belongs to which horse. Sorry, which soldier. And then he said every soldier has to keep 2 horses. Do aspa system. Every soldier has to keep 2 horses. It's a Mongol technique. They do not stop. They cover the distance fast. One horse gets tired, you move to the second horse till the time the first horse is resting. And then you change. So you sleep on the horse while you are riding. So you cover the distance in a shorter time. Military warfare technology and military system. वो क्या लिखा है? Paiga, HH, Paiga. Then he said, no more parties and wines. खड़ा रहेगा इंडिया तभी तो लड़ेगा इंडिया. No more wines, no more parties. And then remember, he said all the iqtadars come. So when they come, you have to give them a place to stay. So he creates a city, the first fortified military camp, military city of Delhi. He builds Siri. He builds Siri. साउथ दिल्ली की तरफ पड़ता है, जहां पर अभी खेलगांव भी है एक. Now what he does, he builds Siri and fortifies it. ठीक? Now who lives in the city? Only the soldiers, military people. Now where does an army man live? When you are on a battlefield, where do you live? If you're an army man, where do you live? You live in tents. Correct? You live in tents. So can we call it a tent society? Can we call it a tent society? ठीक? A tent society or tent is called urd in Arabic. Urd. A tent is called urd. अरे बैरक नहीं, urd. ठीक? Who was the poet at the time of Alauddin Khilji? Amir Khusro. The language of the people of urd. बात समझ आई? Simple. What is urd again? Okay. He introduces postal system, and here he employs spies. Spies क्या क्या बोलते थे? बरीद. So remember, Balban used spies to kill people, to audit on people. He kept spies in the postal services. So what you will do, you will write like this, you will put a star and you will put first. He introduced postal system, you will put a star and you will write first. So horses, done. You have understood horses. B, military technology. He is Sam Dam Dand Bhed. He wants to defeat Mongols, steal their technology. So he starts stealing it and bringing it to India. Gargach, Sabat, Manjanix, Aradas, Maghrebi. The names of the military equipment that he will steal from the Mongols. You just have to know these names, that they are military technology. You do not have to go into the details of it. If you are optional student, then sab padna padega. I hope you are not. God bless you. If you are not. If you have got optional history, then you have to refer to one particular book. The military technology of Delhi Sultanate, Peter Jackson. अब जो ऑप्शनल वाले होंगे उन्होंने किताब का नाम सुना होगा, तो फिर दिक्कत नहीं है. हाँ, सौरभ का चेहरा देख सकता हूं मैं क्या? मतलब क्या सौरभ, सौरभ जरा आना यार तुम, मैं तुमको देखना चाहता हूं, तुम्हारा मुखार बिंद कैसा है. मैं देखना चाहता हूं, सवाल पढ़ने के बाद मुझे ना कुछ अच्छा लग रहा है. अच्छा, आ जाओगे, देख लिया सौरभ. देख बाबू, एक गाना था वडाली ब्रदर्स का, मेरा मशरिब तू मेरा मगरिब तू, है ना, सुना है? मगरबी, वेस्ट को मगरिब बुलाते हैं. एनीथिंग दैट कम्स फ्रॉम वेस्ट इज मगरबी. मशरिब नहीं है, मगरब. Gargaj, these are the names of the tools. You do not have to go into the details of it. Just remember that these are the tools used by Alauddin Khilji, which were Mongolian technique to defeat Mongols. That's it. Ya Allah. Chalo. Number 2 is provisions. कितना टाइम हो गया? ओवर टाइम हो गया? एग्जाम पास करना चाहते हो ना, तो ओवर टाइम कुछ नहीं होता, माई टाइम होता है. माई टाइम, जो भी टाइम से आगे वो ज़कात है. Provisions. Remember the person Thakur Pheru? Thakur Pheru was given a work. Alauddin Khilji said, whatever items are found in my area, make a list of all the items. So he starts making a list. Textiles, all the products. B, food grains. C, horses and slaves. So he prepares 4 lists, and third is miscellaneous, vagera vagera. He prepares the list for all the items and divide them into 4 categories. Once he has divided it, he prepares a ration card for all the divisions. So let us take example from food grains. He makes 3 columns: name of the item, the price, the ration. I'm giving you an example. MIC means miscellaneous. ETC, ETC. Rice. Now imagine 1 seer of rice is bought in 1 jeetal. Jeetal is a copper coin. I'm giving you an imaginative example. The ration is fixed. 40 seer of rice can be bought for 1 adult, per adult, a ration for 1 month. For a child, you can buy 18 seer only for 1 child, 1 month provision. So if you are husband, wife, and 3 children, you can calculate how much you can take. A ration system. The rationing is fixed by Alauddin Khilji. For every item, from a safety pin to a horse, the rates are fixed for everything. That is Alauddin Khilji for you. Take. Now let us see how the market works. Take example of a market and understand how the market works. I am giving you an example from horse and slave market, because there is a reason you will understand. It's a special market. Let us say this is the market. Take. On the market gate, you have the ration list stuck. Ration list is stuck on the gate of the market. That everybody knows how much to buy, how much to sell. Every market, the market is called Sadar, SDR, Sadar. आपने सुना होगा, Sadar Bazaar. This market has to be regulated. So there is a system or a market justice system. बाजार की अदालत, सदर ए अदल, the market justice system, that the rules have to be followed. The price is fixed, the amount is fixed, everything is fixed. It is regulated market system. So there has to be a regulator of this market. The regulator is called Shahna-e-Mandi. So Shahna-e-Mandi is like the SEBI, who is the regulator of the market. He is the SEBI, market regulator. He takes control of the market. He will check everything. Now imagine in this market there are 2 sellers, A and B. There are 2 sellers in the market. They are selling slaves and horses. To check the market, Shahna-e-Mandi is sitting somewhere. He will not go everywhere. So he keeps an inspector, Munia. Munia is the market inspector. And then there is a Patwari. Patwari is the person who keeps the sale records. Patwari. Now imagine that A, the merchant A, tries to sell off anything without following the ration list. It's a corruption. So Munia will send a barid, that is a spy, that will inform the Shahna-e-Mandi that some merchant has lapsed. He has not followed the ration card verbatim. ठीक है? अभी अभी आपने थोड़ी देर पहले भी कहीं पे बरीद लिखा था ना, तो यहां पर लिखेंगे second. Alauddin Khilji is the only ruler who uses the dual spy system. One for market, another for postal services. समझ आई बात? Now imagine if this merchant A is a corrupt man, Shahnai Mandi will call him for breakfast. He will not leave before dinner. मतलब घर तो खाने के लिए क्या जाएगा? सर ही जाएगा उसका, है ना? So he would be killed. That is market की अदालत. That is how the market is regulated. And the last sentence before you leave, I gave you an example from horse and slave market because there is a reason. What is the main reason for everything? The defeat of the Mongols, and it depends on the best breed of horses. What if the merchant is selling you a gadha by calling it a horse? You never know. You do not know about the breeds of horses. So therefore, Shahnai Mandi of a horse and a slave market has to be a person who is a specialist of horses. He understands horses the best. Do we know of a merchant community who were great with horses? Do we know of a merchant community? So therefore, there is a rule. The Shahnai Mandi of a horse and a slave market would either be a Multani or a merchant from Bukhara, Bukharan merchant, because they are specialists in horse and the varieties and the breeds of horses. That is the end of the lecture.